Hello to my fellow history fans. I am author Eileen Schnabel, and today we have one question from Professor Noggins, and I want you to study this picture for a minute because that's going to be your clue. And here is the question. It is, what audio technology was used to direct troops on a battlefield during the Revolutionary War? One last look from Don Troiani's book, and you probably guessed it was the drummer boy. Yes, and drummer boys had an incredibly crucial role to play. So they could be as young as 12, sometimes even younger, which is horrifying because they were really in the heat of the battle. They were the ones who their beat would tell the soldiers either advance or retreat. So you can imagine getting it wrong could create chaos. It was an incredibly important role. And they're also very vulnerable because they're out there and they have to be in the heat of the battle because people have to really hear the commands and they're there without any weapons. So it was an incredibly risky and difficult thing. And they were basically just kids. And in Camp Westgard Rebel Spy, I included a drummer boy because that story, their role kind of touched my heart, especially as a mom of two boys. But I was going to just fast forward a little bit. So my dad, so Revolutionary War, we're doing drums. They're the audio. And then my dad, who served in Western Europe during the 1960s, was telling me they would talk on two-way radios. And then the problem would be, sort of crackling airwaves. Sometimes it was hard to hear. And he would help direct the tanks and the artillery, with the coordinates of where they would do shots. This is practice, like it wasn't an actual war. But even then, the issue of being able to hear well was important. And then if we fast forward to the Ukraine and Russia war, now, we're looking at encrypted radios, encrypted cell phones, really. So sort of the drum and the two-way radios have sort of shrunk down to a tiny thing that can fit in your pocket. But what hasn't changed is the ability to communicate on a battlefield is critical and was critical. And I'm glad it's not 12-year-old kids anymore. But anyway, thanks for letting me share. I wish you a wonderful day and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.